Genocide is a gruesome reality, yet it's been happening for thousands of years and likely affects us all more than we know. Genocide is the systematic destruction of one culture by another for reasons that are often minimized by describing economic, social, and political issues, like fights over resources or threats to political authority. Genocide continues to happen, and countries making up the United Nations do not have an effective method of intervening and providing security. Take the crisis affecting the Rohingya, a primarily Muslim minority in Myanmar. Abu Ahmed is a 60-year-old farmer from the Mungda district of Myanmar, and now one of the nearly 1 million Rohingya refugees that have fled to Bangladesh. Abu and his family fled their village when national forces attacked it with guns, bombs, and machetes and subsequently burned the village to the ground. Some of his family, including his sister-in-law and her child, were murdered by soldiers during their escape. He and his remaining family hid in nearby villages for 4 days, but those too were attacked and destroyed, forcing Abu and his family to leave everything behind and flee to Bangladesh. They walked for 2 days with limited access to food and clean water, making them and the women, children, elderly, and injured that accompanied him even weaker. Once he reached the Ghat River, there were thousands of Rohingya waiting to be ferried across into Bangladesh. They faced further danger as Burmese military boats and helicopters attempted to sink the ferries. Abu did eventually make the crossing in late August of 2017. How would his story have been different if Canada had lobbied for a role in diffusing the violence before it had begun, or to motivate the leaders to consider peaceful means? What if a Department of Peace existed to do just that? With a Department of Peace, Canada could focus on strategies to stabilize the situation, end violence, and make constructive change. Through the lens of peace, an impartial, non-judgmental approach to stop the violence and develop non-violent options could be proposed and implemented with the support of the global community. Canada could systematically engage in pre-conflict, during conflict, and post-conflict efforts to promote peace and halt the dynamics of violence and destruction in places like Myanmar. The conditions that lead to genocides begin decades before mass atrocities do. This is why the pre-conflict stage is so important. The beginning of any intervention involves consultation, assessment, confirmation of understanding, and designing a new or supported plan forward. No one group can make change happen, but with the support of internal and external leaders committed to a peaceful, fair, and dignified resolution, change can occur to prevent genocide. During a violent conflict, unarmed civilians could be deployed to accompany and protect communities. Canada could model and support leaders in the use of nonviolent techniques of negotiation and conflict transformation, facilitate dialogues, and shift mindsets from simple hatred and dehumanization to personal needs and how these can be met without violence. A Department of Peace would help post-conflict by focusing on reconciliation and rebuilding relationships to prevent new outbreaks of violence and facilitating processes to create fair and equal conditions. A Department of Peace would be good for the people involved in genocides and conflict. It would be an impartial and trustworthy guide mediating through the reconciliation and justice process. For Canadians, it would reduce the cost of military spending and build stronger relationships with foreign partners. Canadians are already involved. Amnesty International Canada has written countless letters, faxes, and tweets to the government in Myanmar imploring them to stop this conflict. The Canadian Red Cross has donated medical supplies and supported its foreign partners in treating more than 250 patients a day. But there's no Canadian government body to coordinate efforts, so Canadians have no way to seriously and persistently push for peace. It's possible that the situation in Myanmar and Abu Ahmed's story might have been different if a Department of Peace existed. It takes a society to allow genocide to occur, and it takes a society to stop it. Canada has the potential to become a leader in peace-oriented thinking. Peace is possible. It's time to make it a priority.